Okay, this will be a demonstration of this stitch pattern that I use in my Summer in Florence shawl, which I have here. I really want to demonstrate this M5 stitch where you take, you go into the stitch 4 rows down and you create 5 stitches from that. So it's a little fun stitch and I will demonstrate it. And I'm actually going to go over the whole stitch pattern, so jump ahead if you want to just see the M5. All right, the stitch pattern is a multiple of 10 and it's 8 rows. In the stitch pattern you do some yarn overs. It's a lacy pattern. You do some yarn overs on the wrong side, but they're really easy. I'll show you a good way to help with identifying where to put them. But I did one repeat and I'm going to do another one. The first 4 rows are just garter stitch. You do 2 rows with your complementary color, which I'm using a nice mohair, and then you do 2 rows with your main color. All right, so I will start that. Okay, so I've done the first 4 rows. Now I'm ready to do row 5. I highly recommend that as you work the stitch pattern, you place stitch markers around the repeats. You don't have to do every single repeat because it's 10 stitches per repeat. That would be a lot of stitch markers. You could do 20, 30 stitches just so you keep track of it, because if you make a mistake, it's really hard to fix it. So I highly recommend using stitch markers. All right, so I am on row 5 now of the stitch pattern. This is the one where we do the M5 stitches. So the way it goes, these are my outside stitches. You go knit 2 together, slip, slip, knit 5, knit 2 together, and then you have the M5. Now for the M5 stitch, you have to count 4 rows down. You count 4 holes, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it just so happens that 4 holes down is the one with the main color. So you don't even really have to count. You just have to, if you're using mohair, it's really easy to see. You just take your right hand needle and you stick it into that hole that is 4 rows down, like that. Insert it in, yarn over, pull up the loop, that's 1, yarn over, that's 2, insert, pull up a loop, yarn over, and then pull up a loop, and then you're going to have 5 stitches on your needle, on your right hand needle. Now after you do that, it's very important that you remember this next step. You slip this stitch off. It's not going to go anywhere because you went into the stitches. And then you drop it down. Now, because you're using mohair, it might not drop down all the way because the mohair is very sticky. But as long as it disappears in there, it's in there, the loop. And you can kind of pull on it from the right so it's even. And then you made your M5 stitch. So let's do it again. Slip, slip, knit, knit 5. Knit 2 together. Okay, I'm going down into that main color hole right there. 1, yarn over is 2, 3, yarn over is 4, and then 5. 5 stitches. So just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Don't forget to drop this. If you don't drop this next stitch, it's easy to forget, but your stitch count will be off. So you have to do it. Don't forget that. There, okay, it's done. All right, and that's it. I did it twice. So that was row 5. Let me go to the end here. Now row 6 is the one where we are going to be doing some shaping on the wrong side. I said yarn overs, but it's not yarn overs, it's decreases. They occur, you're going to purl the 5 stitches that you just made that M5, and then the next one after that is a purl 2 together, and then you're going to just purl to the end, to the last 2 stitches of the repeat, and you will purl 2 together through the back loop. So you have a purl 2 together through the back loop, purl 5, and then purl 2 together. So it's really easy to see where they go. So I start the repeat. These are just extra stitches on the outside. They're not part of the stitch pattern. All right, so purl 5, the 5 from the M5 stitch, and then purl 2 together. Purl 3 to the last 2 stitches of the repeat, and purl 2 together through the back loop. That's kind of a hard stitch to do, but once you get the hang of it, it's not so bad. You just insert your right hand needle this way from back to front and make a purl. It just slants it to the left. All right, and then you purl 5, and then purl 2 together, which is a right slanting decrease, and purl 2 together through the back loop. All right, like this. Okay, that was number 6, row 6. All right. Okay, so row 7 is the one that has a bunch of yarn overs in it. Just follow along. It's a yarn over. See how, I'm trying to think of a good way for you to identify it. You're going to be making a triangle. See how there's a triangle down here? You're going to be making a triangle on one part of the first part of the stitch pattern, and then the rest of the stitch pattern is going to be mostly yarn overs. Okay, so you go yarn over, slip, slip, knit, knit 1, knit 2 together. Once you memorize it, it'll be really easy to do. Just got to get into the rhythm of it because you're going across a lot of stitches, so it'll be real easy to remember. So yarn over, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, slip, slip, knit, slip your marker, yarn over, slip, slip, knit, knit 1, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, slip, slip, knit. And that's it. Okay. And now for the last row, this is the one you're going to have a yarn over and a purl 3 together on the wrong side of the work. It's easy too. This one is easy because you'll see it's the top of the triangle. That's the one, that's where your purl 3 together will be, and you're just going to put a yarn over on each side of it. So people don't like to work lace on the wrong side of the work, and I totally get that. It's always good to like if you're working in the round, everything's on the right side, but this is back and forth and it's on the wrong side of the work. But there's a lot of visual cues in this pattern, so I don't think it's terribly difficult. This whole row is just purling until you get to the place where you do the purl 3 together. So there it is. You're gonna purl that yarn over, create another yarn over, purl these 3 stitches together, and then create another yarn over and purl 1. This is where you're going to have 10 stitches. You can always keep track, count, make sure you have 10. So purl 6, yarn over, purl 3 together, yarn over, and purl 1. That's it. That's the last row. Okay. Now, I don't think I mentioned this before, but when you work these rows, the last rows of the stitch pattern, you should carry your, and I didn't do it because this is just a demonstration, but you should carry your mohair or whatever your complementary color is up the side of the work by wrapping it around each time, like that. I should have done it to show you, but that's how you do it. You just take the mohair, put it on top, and twist it around. That way you won't have to cut it or make a tail. Okay, so just for that section, you should just carry it. And then there's another part of the shawl here where you have a large section of garter stitch in mohair. I think for that section, you shouldn't carry the main color up. You should cut it, because on the sides where it's nice mohair, I think it would look a little, like if you wrapped it around here, it might not look so nice. So that was just my personal opinion. If you want, you could carry it up, but I didn't. I tell you in the pattern exactly the best place to break the yarn and the best place where you should just carry it out. So there's not too many ends to weave in. It's not that bad. Oh, there's one more thing I forgot to mention about the stitch pattern. There's a place, after you do your repeat and you're done and you want to start over with the 4 rows of garter stitch, at some point while you're doing those 4 rows of garter stitch, you need to slip your stitch markers 2 stitches over to the right. You always want, you're going to be making the M5 stitches line up, and you want your stitch marker to be right to the left of the center of the prior M5, okay? So just keep in mind, it's just always going to be 2 stitches over. So while you're, you could just knit, as you knit your garter stitch pattern for the next 4 rows, you can take one off and then insert it where it's supposed to go, 2 stitches over, and just keep going on and on. It's very easy. You don't have to like unclip them and everything. You could just slip them on one at a time from the one before. That's how I do it. So just make sure you remember that. It's written clearly in the pattern, but it's kind of a pain, but you have to just move those markers 2 stitches over before you begin the next repeat.